Hello and welcome everyone. This is Mr. Sovar with another tutorial for Agk, also known as App Game Kit from thegamecreators.com. If you haven't seen my previous videos, make sure you go back in there unless you're already an intermediate or advanced user. I'm going to be going into some 3D stuff. I've been wanting to do 3D stuff for a very long time, ever since it came out. But anyways, let's move on and let's go through the code. Now, this program, what it does, it has you as like a first-person shooter type of thing, and you get to move around, look up and down, turn side to side, and move forward and back. And I am going to show you how to do that with all the different camera functions and also creating an object. I'm not going to go super detailed with this, but enough to get you started. Well, at least with the 3D stuff. Now, you have to download the Agk Beta if you've already purchased Agk. The reason why is because the 1.076 version does not have 3D functions or any of the Facebook video extra stuff, even though the Facebook and the video stuff aren't working yet. Just the 3D stuff is fully functional so far. But I have heard that they're going to add limbs and animations, which are very vital for a video game. So, you already know the deal of the virtual resolution and the resolution mode. But just to overcap, the set resolution mode 1, I don't know the real details behind it, but it basically 0 means it's more performance, 1 meaning that the GUI functions and everything looks better quality of graphics. If your game is lagging, put this to a 0 and it usually fixes it. Create object box. Now this is similar to how you would create a sprite, but it creates a box. And this is the width, width, height, and depth. And of course this is the object ID, similar to the sprite ID, but it's a different set of IDs, so you can have sprite 1 and object 1 without them having error confliction basically. And it basically just creates a box that size and with that ID number for object ID, let's just call it that. And the set camera position, this is very simple. The camera is what you see in the video game. You can, I believe, have multiple cameras. I don't know if he added that feature in yet or not, but I know that you can have your main camera and you can position it anywhere in the three-dimensional virtual realm. In this case, we have, I believe this runs on certain units that they kind of just make up, but basically this is 100 units X, 110 units Y, and 70 units Z. That's where the position is. And sometimes you have to draw out a lot of the three-dimensional stuff from different views before you work on your game, so it's like easier to do instead of having the code. Start the game, look at the object, say, it doesn't look right. And you still have to do that after you've planned out where all your objects are, measurements of, okay, it's going to be this, X, Y, and Z, and that, X, Y, and Z for that object. You still have to go in your game and test it out and stuff like that. Now, the set camera rotation Euler is based on a person that was named, like, Euler or something. We just went over it on my engineering course, actually, but it's something that have to do with the angle rotation. It's like an equation on the rotation of the camera. I really don't, I know this is pretty bad. I'm doing a tutorial and I don't, this is mainly the only function I really don't know what it does. I know that you can make it it's you change these values, it kind of turns differently and stuff like that. I just set it to 0, 0, and 0, and it works fine with me with all the different rotations that I need in order to do a really good first-person shooter. I don't know what the main functions are for these, but usually it's for different tilting and different angles at rotations and stuff like that. But moving on, we have our virtual buttons. I guess I don't need the first virtual button because it doesn't do anything, because I literally just took this code out of my other app, which is an app that I'm going to work on. I might do a horror game on it. Some people suggested a train simulation. I'm not good with trains. I never really liked trains. I know I said I'll vote on Facebook and stuff like that, but I don't want to get into it. This is a tutorial anyway. So, The virtual button 2 and 3 are going to be for looking up and looking down. Now I've been working on this for a while now, and usually if you kind of turn sideways while you're looking down, it kind of moves the camera up and down, sort of a bit like a wave. Now I'm going to show you how I fix that, and if it's not in this edition code, I'll just open up my app, no problem. But again, this one's for looking up, that one's for looking down, I believe, and the joystick is for turning your camera side to side and moving forwards and backwards. Now, you understand what a do loop is, you understand what the sync is, kind of updates everything. A and B are not going to be used in here. I should have cut that out. The if get virtual joystick Y, it gets the Y coordinates. It goes from negative 1.0 to 1.0. Negative 1.0 means that you're move the virtual joystick all the way down, and the 1.0 is all the way up. And when you do the Y function, going all the way down means that that you actually move the local position of the camera in the Z direction in a positive value, and when you move it up, it'll be a negative value. Now, this local basically means that it's like local is based on a general small area, where global means that it tilts the whole entire axis of the global virtual environment for that object or camera. Now, it's kind of cool actually, because it's a new way of rotating stuff compared to the Dark Basic Pro series, or the Dark Basic series basically. You can have it where your camera can move left and right locally, but if you do a global up and down, if you go sideways, basically the camera going up and down will not relate to the local rotation. So I thought that was really cool. I'm going to show more examples about it. It's a little bit confusing at first, but we move on, and this time we get the coordinates from the X direction, which is moving your camera or rotating it side by side. And when you rotate the camera sideways and then you decide to move forward, it's not going to like move in a direct axis. It's going to move forward based on where you turn your camera, which is really cool. Which, of course, the rotate camera local Y function does that, the actual rotation of the camera, which is really nice. And of course, you have your camera ID, which I guess I should have said a little bit ago, but the camera ID is similar to the object ID, similar to the sprite ID, but of course separate, so you can have one object, one sprite, and one camera, all the ID of 1, and not have a confliction. But if you have two sprites with the ID number of 1, you'll have a confliction. If you have two cameras with the same ID number, you'll have a confliction. Same thing for the object. That is it's an interesting system actually. There's not a programming language that I know of that really has something like that, unless you program it to act that way. I don't know, I haven't had too much experience with low-level programming with that stuff other than Java, but anyways. Here we have, here's the function that prevents your camera from acting weird. Like, I will show you, actually I'll demonstrate right now. I'll take this function out of here, I compile, and I run the program. Now you can't really see anything, but if I move backwards, you can see an object, and it's lagging a little bit, I don't know why. You can see an object right there. I decide to look up. Wait a second, it's not working right. Now usually when I would be, wait a second, I'm sorry, that's not the right function. Dang it. Okay, so this is just for, I'm sorry, this is for the actual function of keeping you down at a certain level. The reason why is because when you look up and you decide to move forward, if you don't have this function, it'll start having you fly upwards. It's like if you're in Gmod or something like that, and you do the no clip and you look up and you move, it's like you're flying upwards and stuff like that. That's what that function is. I know, I'm already too much into it to stop. So anyways, if virtual button state 2 is equal to 1 and this function air. So what the heck is air? Air is actually a variable that controls how far you can look up and how far you can look down. Because I don't want you to be doing like flips. Like continuously looking down and you start looking at your feet and then you look behind you and you look upwards and you keep on going in a rotation like that. This prevents you from doing flips. So for example, if the air variable is greater than -93, which is the farthest you can look down, it will keep on looking down, and it rotates the camera based on a local X rotation. Similar to the Y, which makes you look sideways or turn sideways, where the X makes you look down and up. And of course this one's for looking down and this one's for looking up. And let me see here. Okay, so the turning variable is for, it's a function that I kind of put into the game, where if you look up and you stay looking up for 500 of the seconds that's based on the code, which is not accurate seconds, but still a long time, it will automatically look down into the middle part for you. So like, think of it as if you're looking 30 degrees up, it will set you back to 0 degrees after 500 of its seconds. And it basically works that the turning is equal to turning plus 1. If the turning variable is above 800, then if the air is less than -1, then keep on having the air plus 0.8, having the camera start looking up until it reaches above -1. And of course, if it is above 1, it will start looking down after 800 of its seconds. So we look at this function, air, and it's not only used for tracking where you are at based on the x-axis rotating up and down, and not only does it limit how much you can look up or look down, but if you stay looking up for 800 seconds, then it will position you back to a 0 degree position after a while slowly. So it's like I don't know, I thought it was a kind of interesting of a function. I don't know if it would be 100% useful, but it's just something cool. And let me see here, what is this? Rotation. Oh, okay, this is it. I'm sorry, I got this mixed up with the other function. This function is for having it where you can actually, I believe, prevent okay, yes, this function is for having it where you can actually be turning while you're looking up and not have it like do a wave looking thing. Now I just need to make sure, because I just got back from studying and stuff like that, so I'm a little not with it. Okay, let's move back a little bit. I don't know why this is lagging. Here, I'll probably make it better if I do this. So I look up, and it should be doing a wave type of thing. I guess you can't really see it though because there's no other objects. But this prevents it from doing a weird, like, it's really hard to explain. You kind of have to see it. It's like you're looking up, you turn 90 degrees and you're looking straight down. You turn another 90 degrees and you're looking back up again. That's basically what it is. And the reason why I have this plus 2.9 and minus 2.9 is because for some reason, if I didn't have this value here, it would like I'll move up and it'll shift down a little bit. Well, that would be for this one. So I added a 2.9 to the variable, so it looked like I moved up, and it might shift like 0.1, but it's not really noticeable that much, unless you're laggy, of course, like me. But so that's basically the gist of it, to actually have a camera function move around in a first-person shooter type environment, basically. And this other code, don't worry about it. I was trying to mount a gun onto my camera, basically. So don't worry about that stuff. I will get to that stuff eventually. And there's all sorts of neat functions in the 1.08 version of Agk. It supports Facebook, it supports Twitter. Heck, I'll open up the help menu in a second, but let me see if I've forgotten something. I know that the Y rotate variable is basically for keeping track of where you have turned left or right. And for the joystick is similar to the virtual button. Here is the X, or the Y position, X position, the ID number. Of course, it's different from the button, object, camera, whatever. And here's the size right here. Same thing for the virtual buttons. And I already went over that. Okay, so it kind of seems all good and everything. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with these new functions and everything. I hope this really helped you. I'm gonna go through the help menu, kind of showing you what's new as soon as one of these things open up. Okay, so what's new in version 1.08? Compiler is basically optimized for the HTML5 function, and they took out Migo and Beta because they're obsolete. And let me see here, 191 new commands for logging, video, rating, Facebook, Twitter, in-app purchases, notifications, zip, sensors, NFC, geolocation, compass, gyro, light sensor, orientation, and 3D as follows. Now, again, these are really nice. Not all of them are working at the moment. The logging, the video, the rating. I'm not really sure about in-app purchases. I know Facebook and Twitter are not working right. They are going to be fixed probably in the other couple betas. All I have to say is that this is the biggest update, I would have to say, since the 1.07 update. I know the 1.06 update was really huge also, so I don't know what the NFC is. I've been trying to figure that one out, but I know the geolocation is cool. It uses GPS. Compass is cool. Gyro Meter, that is gonna be freaking awesome. I'm just gonna say that right now, because the Gyro Meter can make it so, like, if you hold out the phone and you rotate your body, it notices that. If you rotate it up and down around your body, it notices that too. So you can literally have your thing look up to the stars, and you could be like moving it in like a way of where you are the center of mass and you're kind of just rotating around. It's not just the accelerometer, it's the gyro meter doing that for you. Now, I don't know what this one is either. I know there's a couple sensors I don't really know. I know orientation sensor is kind of cool. Might be cool for 3D games. Light sensor, it's pretty cool. Here's all the 3D commands. I'm not going to say every single one of them, it'll take a little too long. But that's basically all the different commands. Really cool stuff. Of course, if you've bought the actual Agk, you would already have seen this and test out some stuff. I want to work with the collision stuff probably next time, and maybe some 3D shaders, because the shaders are going to be really cool. I don't know how to program in shaders, but hopefully sooner or later I learn how to. Got lights, all sorts of cool stuff. But this is the end of the tutorial. It's a little bit long, but it's a really nice one. Sorry that I messed up a couple times, but hopefully you got the understanding of how to do 3D stuff. I know a lot of people on the forums, I could be wrong with this, correct me if I am, but it seems like a lot of people are not really trying out the beta. Like, I know some people, a lot of people have to a little bit, but a lot of people are sticking with the 1.07 because it's just about bug free, I think, and it's more stable and supports more stuff with your commands already programmed. But I truly think this beta is awesome. I'm gonna really work on the beta, try and make a cool 3D app and stuff like that. So thank you, game creators, for bringing out 3D. I really appreciate it, and thank you for viewers for viewing this video. It really helps me a lot. Make sure to like the video so more people can see it, and more people that are doing AGK can understand stuff, because the more you click on that like, the more people actually see it. And if you want more and actually support me a lot with this stuff and my other videos, make sure to subscribe with the subscribe button right above, right up here I believe. That would help me a lot. If you want to comment and suggest anything for me, I'm always open. And if you also wish to, you can also share this on Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. I'd appreciate that too. But I am going to end it right here, guys. This is Mr. Sovar. Hope you've liked this, and see you later.